let's move on now to the Denver Broncos. But before we do that, if you have not already, hit that subscribe button and like the video and ring the bell to get notified when we create new content. Ryan and I, we have a lot more content coming out after this final series of the free agency reviews, which means a lot more 2023 preseason predictions and also overall predictions and game reviews. So if you wanted to see that and more Denver Broncos content, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Ryan, let's get into the Denver Broncos offseason review. The free agency portion is, I guess the free agency portion never really ends in the summer, but it is primarily over. All the big major signings, big major changes have come. And the Broncos were very active last year, and they added on some good pieces this year, but within the draft and the draft free agency, they were not able to add too much. But in general, though, kind of with Sean Payton coming in, first offseason in this regime, I think they actually did okay, all things considered.
I think they're banking on a lot of the talent that they had last year that underperformed, maybe taking a step back to their normal and playing up to what we thought that they were going to play at last year.
You mean Russell Wilson?
Pretty much, yeah. Well, their defense suffered a little bit. Granted, they did trade Bradley Chubb midseason. And like they still have some really solid defensive pieces, but on offense, I think the play of Russell Wilson strongly dictates whether Courtland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy have good seasons or not, right? Yeah. And so for me, I think that's going to be the big one. Let's just go ahead. Let's get into their roster here, and we can really just kind of start breaking things down a little bit. So as mentioned, Courtland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy lead the way. They did add Marvin Mims with their first draft pick this year. I think that's a really interesting addition. He's very different than both of those guys. And I'm really curious to see how they kind of rotate him in.
Well, so Tim Patrick's coming off an ACL tear. I also believe he's 29 now.
Yeah, he's getting older.
Yeah, maybe 28 or 30. So his time is done, or is getting close to being done, I think, in Denver, unless they re-sign him to a small contract. I think what makes Mims interesting is they didn't have a second-round pick, and this was Sean Payton's first pick with the Denver Broncos, and they traded up for him to go into the second round. So that gives me confidence that they saw something that they can really utilize, maybe, and then also through their coaching interviews as well, that they really saw something about him as a player within the organization to build around. Because I do feel, Courtland Sutton, I think that his time is up, or getting close to being up. Jerry Jeudy, I feel like he just hasn't had a good quarterback for us to really kind of get that feel around him.
Yeah, Jerry Judy's legit.
Oh,
when he's playing well, he's legit.
No. But it's like he hasn't had a good quarterback yet. So, he needs Wilson to be successful. And if Wilson does start to play better and Jerry Jeudy now doesn't get those stats, it's like, okay, maybe it is the receiver position. But I agree with you. I think he's great.
Yeah.
Courtland Sutton now, maybe he's getting a little bit older as well. And with everything kind of happening with this regime, maybe this might be his last year. We'll have to see, or maybe he gets traded. I will say this, though, that the two additions that really stick out to me on the offense here is the offensive line. Additions of Ben Powers and then Mike McGlinchey. Both were some of the top, most respected offensive linemen from their position last year. And getting them onto this team now, it's only going to improve this entire offense, even if you want to take the ball out of Russell Wilson's hands even more. So because Javonte Williams comes back and he is healthy and is able to be the running back that we know he was from his rookie year and last year when he was healthy. And also then, too, adding Samaje Perine, I think an extremely underrated addition to this offense here. He did phenomenal as Joe Mixon's backup in Cincinnati. A lot of catches from out of the backfield, and also did a decent job running between the tackles as well. So all of their additions that they've brought in on the offensive side of the ball, I can't really complain.
No, yeah, definitely. I think that they've made the right moves, right? They had the wide receivers. They beefed up that offensive line. They got the offensive coach that Russell Wilson needed, right? Sean Payton's a Hall of Famer. So I really like what they're doing on the offensive side of the ball. Let's kind of get into their defensive side of the ball. And one of their biggest losses, they did trade Bradley Chubb to the Dolphins, but Draymond Jones, I believe, was signed by Seattle. But they did actually go out and sign Zach Allen, who, if you look at his production from last season, they're like almost identical.
Yeah.
In actual production, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah. I think Zach Allen, I'll double check on the age, might be a year older. So that's where like maybe there's a little bit less value, but that's whatever. Stat wise, though, they were close to the same player. Not saying that they one's better than the other, just stating fact. In general, though, I'll have to push back a little bit on what you said earlier. I guess maybe by technical definition, the defense regressed a little bit. But that's because they went from like a top 3 defense to like a top 7 defense. It's still one of the best defenses in the league. The only reason why they were in so many games, to be completely honest, because the offense last year was just god awful. Like Denver fans watching this video obviously don't need to be told about that again. I do like the additions of Drew Sanders and also Riley Moss as well. I thought that was good value to adding depth as well. So in general, similar to last year, it's like you look at it on paper, the Broncos should be good this year. Like they should be good, but there's no confidence at all because that's what we all said last year. We all thought that they were a Super Bowl winning team. Yeah, no, I mean, I think you look at what they put on the field last year, and everybody had super high expectations going in, and they, could not have been worse. Like it was an atrocious result to that experiment. And so I think if there's a guy to do it, Sean Payton is the guy that can right the ship. And like, let's kind of get into what a successful season would look like here. And for me, I think they need to be back in playoff contention and possibly even be contenders to win the division. Because I think you look at what they were 2 seasons ago, and like they were taking Kansas City down to the final drive where they had to kick a final second field goal with Drew Lock. And then you throw in Russell Wilson, who before last season was almost unanimously considered a Hall of Fame quarterback. And it's like, okay, well, that's a recipe for success, right? Last time Russell Wilson had the best defense in the NFL, he won a Super Bowl. So I think that's really the expectation. They need to be playoff contenders. They need to be contending to win that division. And I think they have the pieces to do it. If we're going to go off something tangible, one that's realistic, but then also too, I think one that's more comical. I think if they're in playoff contention, whether they make the playoffs or not, but they're just in playoff contention come week 15, week 16, 17. I think that's a successful season. But if we're going the more comical route of just something that's a successful season, they're not the constant butt of every joke. Essentially. Because it was, I forgot the YouTube guy's name. There's another guy. It's like he started this series because then it got funny because in every week they one-upped each other on how it was like the worst way to lose a game. And I forget the guy's name. Just for the sake of this video, I won't look up. But it was then, I believe it was something. Then like by week 14, there was like the new worst way to lose a football game. Like there's so many. He added a worse every week, and it was comical because they keep one upping each other on how they can lose. So if you could just eliminate that and have that not happen, then I think that would be a successful season.
No, and I think you want to see Russell Wilson's play elevate. He wasn't working with any of his own staff. He was forced to work with the Denver Broncos staff. So I think that's going to be really interesting to watch. But let's go ahead and wrap it up there. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe and leave a comment down below on what your favorite offseason edition was for the Denver Broncos. Was it a free agent signing? Was it a draftee? Let us know down below. And other than that, we will see you guys next time.